Some games are like a school shooter, you understand why they did it, but it still makes you wonder why. Nippon Ichi is always short on cash and needs to find new ways to sell stuff, so they don't have to go kaboom, but someone needs to give them better advice. Like making a party game that has no online mode in 2026. Yep, I'm sure people who play Nippon Ichi games have tons of normal friends who would rather play Pretty Party instead of Maru Party. Good luck with it. You should always start with something positive, right? So here I go, look at this cutie. She's a big fan of pudding or flan or whatever you want to call it. Just like someone else you know from the Disgaea, I know it's pronounced Disgaea, but I like to say it the wrong way at least once whenever I mention it. Because saying gay is funny or something like that, I never grew up. Back in the day when I was a young grasshopper, we sometimes drove over to the Netherlands because my granny wanted to have a lot of coffee. And coffee over there was way cheaper than here in Germany. Something else we bought there often was fla, a drinkable kind of pudding that I fell in love with. This reminded me of it again because I haven't had it in a long time. How I miss it, like my first love, that never existed. I also have a Dutch copy of Harvest Moon Magical Melody for the Wii from over there. Dutch is a really funny language when you're German. Even if it didn't have German text in the game, I probably would understand it anyways. And this is NA, that doesn't stand for North America, who gets hired by her to help out to get her minions back, who were disappointed in her abilities to make good pudding, unlike her dad who made some damn fun pudding and was the overlord who passed away for reasons and she couldn't pass the torch on, yet. Blah blah, that's the basic outline of the story. The normal Disgaea games have some pretty great stories, but you wouldn't expect that here. Luckily the writing is pretty much the same, so you will have a few giggles here and there. Like as if you were a teenager again who just got a call from his crush, so you lay in bed and you flutter kick your legs from giggleness. If that's relatable to you, for me it isn't. What else do we have that is positive? The graphics, I guess? You may call me crazy for it, but I don't mind this look. I'm one of those that will tell you we have peaked back in the day and the chase for photorealism or super duper high graphic animal art styles that now all just look like Genshin Impact so they have no identity on their own made the whole gaming industry worse with the bloated budget and so on. It's colorful and the models look good enough for me. Also my PC kinda sucks so my recordings make it look worse than it actually looks like. In the main games, going from the super duper cute sprites to the 3D models was obviously one of those holy shit, fuck me in the ass and call me animal names kind of moment that turned them worse, but here they fit, you know? That's kinda all I can say that is positive. That sounds like it's a super duper bad game, but it's not all bad. It ranges from okay to why did they do this? And you will wonder that quite often. These problems stack like a person who wants to be special online, so they stack mental illnesses and collect them like crazy to pull everyone's mood down. What do you like to do in Dynasty Warriors? Being in the middle of tons of enemies and beating them up, right? Here, every stage is broken into little pieces where you have to defeat 15 monsters. You defeat them, they despawn and you have to kill another 15 monsters who spawned over there. The whole game is like that, I'm not joking. It's always 15 monsters you have to kill in the main story missions. Why? They spawn more than 15 monsters, so it's not like this is a technical limitation, since in the free missions you have to kill 60 and stuff like that, but in the main missions 15, it's always 15. 15. It's like the game wants you to feel like Leonardo DiCaprio on his hunt for his next prey. How can you develop any sense of fun when sometimes a single skill will wipe out 15 monsters and boom, now you have to run to the next points just to take them all out again with a single skill? Especially later in the game. Obviously I don't expect them to spawn 1,000 of them, but in a more brain-dead game like this, it's more fun to hit more targets. I'm not an expert on Dynasty Warriors, and many people think those are brain-dead too, but they're not, unless you play on easy. None of that is here. This is the most basic form of these games, no thinking required, no defending bases, no take out this special enemy before the boss, no unlocking gates or anything, just straight up killing 15 enemies over and over till the game tells you to kill the boss of the stage. There's different weapon types and I'm not the biggest fan of the bow or the other ranged stuff. But that's a personal thing since I want to slice through my enemies instead of keeping my distance and doing damage from afar. You want to swing your weapon around instead of having to aim skill shots as if you would be playing League of Legends or Dota. They have different skills and it also depends on how often you use them, just like always. You're gonna be stronger with a sword if you keep using a sword, the typical stuff. You can see how the game works in the background, so I don't think I have to say more about this. The item world is also here and it completely breaks the game. If you enter it early and do a little round of it, you will be set to go through the next few stages and even more. You will feel like a person with a triple-digit IQ stuck in a kindergarten class with stupid little kids. And this is the same stage for every weapon pretty much. Why is it just flat ground? Why can't it be randomized or something? Sometimes you get to play on a donut at least. Wow, I love round things like balls and boobs. The balancing in the game does not really exist. You can unlock the Carnage mode after you beat the game that jacks up the difficulty, but I didn't even want to do that anymore at that point. In the normal Disgaea games, I love to grind for the 9 billion quadruple super duper damage bullshit you can do, but here, I just couldn't bring myself to care for it. Yeah, I can crank up the numbers, but I still don't have to use my brain on the actual maps. Maybe you will, but well, I doubt it. It would have been way better if they gave you different difficulties that changed the movesets and so on, but obviously that would have taken too much effort and budget, so all that changes are the damage numbers of the enemies. Yay! I still don't have to use my brain, I hate using my brain anyways, yahoo! The thing is, that mode costs 100,000 mana, and after beating the game and grinding a bit here and there, I only had half of it, yay! So you have to grind mindlessly to be allowed to make it harder for yourself. Unless you buy the cheat mode where you can crank up the enemies, but even then it's easy and it's exactly what I said it will be doing, just making everything take more time to kill while you take more damage, yay. Normally you would try this out maybe at the end of something, and that's what I did too, to kinda see like, oh, what funny cheats does the game offer, like funny big head mode, something like that, those kind of cheats. Not that it actually has difficulty sliders in a certain way, but it's not really doing that because it's just doing the numbers a little bit harder, I don't know. And me checking this at the end kinda wounds another point that I have about the DLC later that you will hear and you will think, bro, but then earlier you said this and that, but then it kinda wound the later part because I didn't know it existed, so likely I checked it before it existed, but I still leave that part in anyways because I don't give a fuck. Just like the developers. It's a one and done kind of game for me. I beat it, I never want to go back to it. And it took, well, around 4 to 5 hours to beat it, 60 bucks. The only thing that made me grind it a little bit is a sudden jump in levels for the very last mission and me grinding to get a buddy Succubus and Kitty. Since you can get enemies as your friends, yay, I love big fat tits and hot ladies, so obviously the second those appeared I had to grind to get them as my friend. Nothing against the not so sexy cats, sometimes a cat is fine too, and prinnies, but that's how life goes. Everyone would rather want a hot partner if possible. They're stupid as hell and often get stuck on edges and just die over and over, but you can turn your weapon into theirs if you want to, or just do it so you can use their super duper ultimate destruction attack that will probably do half of the boss's health all the time, and enjoy them as eye candy. I'm pretty sure the hottest girls are also the rarest, that's just how life is anyways, isn't it? Took me a while to get a kitten, not a Discord kitten, after playing a stage like 10 times. And I got a kitsune after just one try. Sometimes I'm lucky, sometimes I'm not. Maybe I should become a politician and bribe people, or get myself bribed. Like how you can do it at the assembly, which is a staple of the franchise, but I haven't used it here at all. It will make the game even easier. I don't need triple XP when I'm already so overleveled, or more money when the items barely matter. Like how you can actually get a higher rank at the shop if you buy a lot of shit, but you don't need to buy a lot of shit. In the main games, these mechanics are so well used and needed to grind out those high numbers, but here, none of it really matters. You can't sink your teeth into it because of the lack of things to do and higher difficulties. 60 bucks. The price stops you in your tracks like a tank trying to squash a civilian uprising. 60 bucks for this, really? It's basically telling the real fans to bend over and take it, and people who never were interested in it in the first place will never be interested in it at this price point. I don't want companies and never will, but in my mind I would think selling it at half the price, which would still be a bit pricey, is worth it more. At this price maybe one person will buy it, so you got 50 bucks from it. At 30 bucks maybe 5 people will buy it, so you got 100 bucks. I took away 10 bucks from each example because of taxes and all that stuff. So they probably bank on scamming the real fans without hoping a cheaper price would attract more people to gain from it. Would that work? Of course not. It was doomed at any price point. Probably. They already were in big money problems and still are, but is this the way to go? Like I said, I'm not a businessman, so I have no idea either. Putting The Witch and the 100 Night 1 and 2 onto PC finally would fix that, because it would finally become a breakout hit, surely. Or making another puzzle game. I unironically love puzzling. It's really relaxing, even if it's more fun in real life. Imagine one with tons of concept art from all of their new games and stuff. One of my dream games. I would also buy real puzzles if they sold them. The first Hyrule Warriors, I have zero interest in the boring ones that take place in the Breath of the Wild universe, probably broke my brain when it comes to games like this. I now always imagine them to be these grand crossovers that jerk off their fans. I don't mind the new characters and NA is a fairly decent MC, but I would have loved it if they had given you some more fan service, not just for the monsters. It doesn't have to be 25 of them, but maybe give everyone a different weapon type instead of letting the MC use all of them by himself. So if you want to have a character that can use a spear, you can play as Edna. Asagi gets to use her guns and so on. You can find a fitting character for each weapon, probably. I'm totally not just a sucker that will buy games just for crossovers. I'm not one of those, surely. Wouldn't that be more attractive to everyone? Big fans get to see their favorite characters again outside of the typical gameplay, and newcomers would maybe get interested in the other games because of how fun these fellas and ladies can be. If you buy the DLC, you can get Disgaea as a body at least. Maybe they have planned more for the future, but I'm gonna be honest, even then it's not worth it. It has been out for months in Japan with no new DLC, so I wouldn't keep up the hopes for more. But the funniest thing is, I activated the DLC after beating the game, but the DLC expects you to be level 1. How and why? Why not give you a choice to level it up? I would have to transmigrate my character back to level 1 to be able to enjoy it. I just said fuck it, let me rush through it. It's only worth it if you're a person who thinks with their dick first, like me. Because many of the hotter demons are only in the DLC. The base game has the Sokobi and kitty catties, but here you get all the cuties possible that you missed. I'm not a furry, but look at those paws. Are they still paws even though they're at the bottom of her feet? I'm not a furry, so I wouldn't know. Also, the way the game ends at least will maybe give you a chuckle. It goes from anticlimactic to still being fairly anticlimactic. You go to the moon for a single mission to beat the final boss, who turns out to not be the final boss. She's cute though, so she should have been the final boss. I love bunny girls and the whole lore about bunnies living on the moon from Japan. Everyone should own a bunny suit, even you, so you can make your girlfriend wear it, if you have one, or wear it yourself. Why is this the only stage? Only one stage on the moon. You finally get to some interesting looking area that isn't, wow, bowing forest, bowing lava, blah blah blah. One stage on the moon. You don't even get to fight hordes of enemies, but just 4 big ones 2 times. If that would be a math question, the solution would be 8. You know what kinda looks like an 8? A rope while binding it to jump from the chair. That's what I would do if I was called Wurst, the German word for sausage, who is the true final boss who disguised himself as a really dapper Prinny, who then also hires other people who were named after German sausages. As a German, I approve of this. They could have at least called one of them after the best German invention ever though, the Mettbrötchen. But why do all of these battles take place in the very first stage? I'm not a game designer, producer, anything. I would be the stupid idea guy who tells people what they should make without me doing anything of value, but even I could come up with the idea of, hey, let's make you fight each wannabe Wurst in different stages. One in the lava world, one in the jungle world, one on the moon. Would it change anything? No. Would it make it a better game? No. Would it make you show they cared at least a little bit? Maybe. I could only recommend this to people if you only search for the most brain-dead Musou game of all time at a low sale point of $20. Otherwise you will sit there and feel scammed. Maybe even at $20 it will feel like that to you. Maybe they will still make DLC and then finally you can play as Edna, so suddenly it would be worth $100, who knows? Or maybe they at least will add some more difficulty to the game so the mechanics can actually matter. Maybe also unlock the stages more so you don't have to only kill 15 at a time, but way more. It's really the dumb little decisions that hold it back from you wanting to engage more with it. Because in its current state, there's barely anything to do with it, except sitting in front of your screen and maybe jerking off if they gave you a photo mode so you can actually enjoy the models. Can't even do that since there is no photo mode, and if you get too close you do the typical character almost disappears thing. Wowie, I want to look at their tits, don't make them disappear. With that said, I hope you will have a good day, a good night, or whatever fits your time zone. I am normally a very positive person, but even I got my limits. I don't even hate the game and I think it's playable, but they're just too little and it's too pricey. I know I sound like a broken record, but don't we all sometimes? At least they got a blueprint down and can do it better next time, right? I'm sure they won't just ignore this game because it bombed harder than me on my math tests back in the day, right? Bye bye.